the ultimate adventure tool with all the storage to hold even more adventure tools. The all-new, adventure-ready Bronco Sport.
We've been doing a lot of driving off-road. It's a bit of an adrenaline rush, but in such a slow-paced environment, it's effectively really safe and a lot of fun. It's really important that everyone that comes out here has the respect to have a lot of fun, but not do damage. We always try and leave it cleaner than we found it.
The best way to leave your mark on the world is to hardly leave one at all. BF Goodrich, what are you building for?
Years of off-road racing dominance, proprietary patented race technology, proudly made in the USA, unparalleled customer service and support, the choice of champions, KingShocks, the leader in off-road shock technology.
The finishing touches of any off-road vehicle are the things you add to make it your own. That's why we've developed a full collection of over 70 Polaris-engineered accessories specifically designed for Pro R. Polaris. Think outside.
I got that right turn. We're good.
Let's meet up at the compound, group up.
At 10-4. Yeah, for sure, dog. Good little driver, straight on through.
Welcome to Baja, California. Our unique blend of cultures, cuisines, and historical influences create surprising combinations and unexpected delights around every corner. We welcome you with the most revolutionary cuisine in Mexico, complete with a sky full of magical sunsets. Welcome to the million-star hotels. If you're looking for something astonishing, we hold the most important wine regions in all of Mexico, next to the best tacos in the world. Welcome to our own revolutionary and delicious version of Chinese food. Here, the sublimely unexpected is our norm. It's our pleasure to welcome you to our beautiful state, Baja, California, where everyone is always welcome.
All right, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the 2024 qualifying of the Method Race Wheels Baja 400 presented by VP Racing Fuels today. I am Austin Fish Farner, joined by Nick Eisenhower here.
Hey.
Like always for the qualifying, I hope you guys are ready to see some race action today from down in Ensenada. Are you excited for today?
I'm very excited.
Very excited. All right, well, the way it's going to work today, we're going to have our trophy truck specs are going to qualify first. They are actually out on their practice lap right now. Everybody got to go out and do a about a 4.5 mile pre-run lap. So they're out there just finishing those pre-run laps right now. They're going to bring them back. They're going to restack them in the qualifying order. You can see down there on the screen, they're getting stacked back up at the start. We're waiting to confirm if we are starting at 8:15 or 8:30. So as soon as we confirm that, we will let you guys know. But Nick, what do you think? What kind of action are we going to have going on today? We're starting with the trophy truck specs. Why don't you tell everybody real quick, a 2-second rundown, or maybe 10 seconds.
2 seconds?
What is the trophy truck spec?
Trophy truck spec, unlimited chassis, unlimited tire size, a spec engine. It'll be a sealed LS3, turbo 400 transmission, live rear axle. You are allowed to run an underdrive, but it must be a single-speed underdrive. Other than that, it's the same as a trophy truck. It's just got a little motor in it.
All right, and we're going to have quite a few of these today. We have 27 on the entry list. We'll see how many show up for qualifying. You don't have to qualify. So sometimes people, they're just like, oh, we'll just take a rear start. We're not too worried about it. We're going to start in the back. There is kind of advantages to that too. The one advantage is if there's a bottleneck ever and you start far back and you catch up to everyone in the bottleneck, you now have all that time gap that you just made up on everybody, right?
Yeah, and the way I look at it, man, like you're racing, obviously everybody's on their own time, you're racing against the clock, you're on your own little time slot that you're in, but the problem is the further back you start, the more dust you got to deal with. So ideally it's better to start up front.
Yeah, and we see a car going off the line there. That is going to be a pre-run car, I believe, because that looked like the Coastal Racing truck that is going to be driven by Jason McNeil this time. So that is a pre-run lap car that you guys just saw go. They are going to be starting last, so that would be them, the last one to go out on a pre-run lap. So it looks like we're probably going to be closer to 8:30 for the actual start time, unless something crazy happens here and we start in 3 minutes, which we might.
Everything's possible. Now let's talk about the importance of this qualifier and the importance of finishing this race and where you finish this race and what it sets us up for.
Yeah. This sets us up for the Baja 1000, the big one, right?
Exactly, yeah. So this is a very, very important race for a lot of people because obviously everybody's sights are set on the Baja 1000. That's the end-all, be-all. And the results from this race are your starting grid for the 1000. So you really want to do well at this race to ensure that you have a great starting position.
Yeah, and that's a look at our top 10 starters. They are based off of the finishing order at the previous race. Is going to be well, actually, yeah, it lets you get to qualify here, right? So Thor Herbst obviously is going to be first there. You got EJ Herbst going second, Travis Williams third, Charles Durant's fourth, Vincent Munoz fifth, Josh Beyer sixth, Mike Marsal seventh, Stephen Beal eighth, Bryce Swaim ninth, and Ryan Hancock 10th. And the way that qualifying does work, that it is whatever driver qualifies today has to start the race tomorrow.
Yep, pretty standard off-road stuff. That's usually how it works there. For people at home that maybe don't understand, because you will see under the vehicle number there will be multiple drivers of record, multiple drivers, but there is one driver of record. But they can have their backup driver qualify. They just must take the green flag on Saturday morning.
Exactly. And just because, like you said, whoever is in there now, they do have to start. The reason for that, obviously, is you can't put the fast guy in now. He goes out and qualifies first. Then you maybe put a slower guy in there, and he stacks everybody up, right?
Last thing you want to do.
The AKA Robbie Gordon rule.
Exactly. So.
All right, so it's 8:30 is our start time. We just got confirmation of that. So in about 15 minutes, we're going to start our timed runs. You guys won't miss any action here. Don't worry. We have multiple cameras around the lap today. You guys might notice in the background there, that kind of gives you a little hint of where this is happening at there. That's a kind of a famous little backdrop there. If you know where those white arches or the white things are there, that kind of tells you where we're qualifying at today. So it's not open to the public, but there's always people that sneak in there.
Right.
So we will be back at 8:30 for your timed runs. We're going to let them finish up the practice qualifiers right now, and then we'll be back at 8:30 to start our timed runs. And the 219 Thor Herbst will be first off the line in about 15 minutes.
the ultimate adventure tool with all the storage to hold even more adventure tools. The all-new, adventure-ready Bronco Sport.
We've been doing a lot of driving off-road. It's a bit of an adrenaline rush, but in such a slow-paced environment, it's effectively really safe and a lot of fun. It's really important that everyone that comes out here has the respect to have a lot of fun, but not do damage. We always try and leave it cleaner than we found it.
The best way to leave your mark on the world is to hardly leave one at all. BF Goodrich, what are you building for?
Over 25 years of off-road racing dominance. Proprietary patented race technology. Proudly made in the USA. Unparalleled customer service and support. The choice of champions. KingOffRoadShocks, the leader in off-road shock technology.
The finishing touches of any off-road vehicle are the things you add to make it your own. That's why we've developed a full collection of over 70 Polaris-engineered accessories specifically designed for Pro R. Polaris. Think outside.
I got that right turn. We're good.
Let's meet up at the compound group up.
That's 10-4. Yeah, for sure, dog. Good, little driver. Straight on through.
Welcome to Baja, California. Our unique blend of cultures, cuisines, and historical influences create surprising combinations and unexpected delights around every corner. We welcome you with the most revolutionary cuisine in Mexico, complete with a sky full of magical sunsets. Welcome to the million-star hotels. If you're looking for something astonishing, we hold the most important wine regions in all of Mexico, next to the best tacos in the world. Welcome to our own revolutionary and delicious version of Chinese food. Here, the sublimely unexpected is our norm. It's our pleasure to welcome you to our beautiful state, Baja California, where everyone is always welcome.
All right, welcome back to the Method Race Wheels Score Qualifying for the 5th annual Score Baja 400 presented by VP Racing today. This is a look at our start line right down here in just outside of Ensenada, Baja, California. That is the Herbst truck lining up there, the Thor Herbst truck. They are going to start in just about 9 minutes at 8:30. The way it worked this morning is everybody went out on a sight lap. It's about a 4.5-mile course that we have laid out here. It is pretty technical, kind of like this race is going to be. We've heard a lot of feedback so far on the race course, and a lot of people are saying it's one of the tightest and the most technical races that they've ever done down in Baja.
Yeah, it's kind of, I've seen a lot, you know, you read through Race Desert and you see everybody's pre-running videos, and you know, you're checking out the Score Instagram and all that, and you see everybody uploading their videos, and it does look very tight and technical and twisty. So it's going to kind of stack you up for a pretty exciting race, I think, on Saturday, and qualifying is going to play a big role in it. So you got to think, when you have a tight technical course like that, especially somewhere new, some new terrain and all that, there's going to be some hiccups. There's going to be some people getting stuck, some things breaking, creating the most awful thing in the world, the bottlenecks.
The bottlenecks.
And so these qualifying results are very important. You know, you don't want to put all your eggs in the qualifying basket, but you know, you want to put a good portion of the eggs in that basket to make sure you stay out in front of some of the guys that might cause some of those issues.
Yeah, and one thing that is a little bit different, if you notice, today is Wednesday, and normally they qualify on Thursday. So maybe that gives you a little bit more time to work on your car.
That's true.
You might be able to push it a little bit harder. If you mess it up, you got a couple days, maybe bring it back, go to the shop, you can work on it, and then come back down for the race. So we might see some people pushing just a little bit harder now that it's on a Wednesday today.
Yeah, and now looking here at the start, it looks like they brought some dirt in to move some stuff around here to kind of give us like a nice, good, clean dig out of the hole to get started here.
Yeah.
Should build up some good speed, some good mile per hour, a nice clean start here. But now I wonder how much of the rest of this qualifying course we have is kind of tidied up. We haven't seen much of the course yet. We'll start seeing it as the cars start going around through the live cameras.
Yeah.
But it kind of makes me wonder, maybe they ran some blades through here, or if it's more open desert stuff. And, it is always a little trying. Like, yeah, you go out on your parade lap, right? But you've got 27 trucks behind you that go through and dig out those lines. So what you saw, call it an hour ago, might be completely different than what you're going to see on your actual time to run. And it kind of makes things a little iffy when, maybe your navigator in his notes was like, hey, turn 4, you can hit that wide open. But maybe after everybody went through it, maybe they built a berm up, or maybe they pushed the berm out of the way. And so you got to lean a little bit on the cautious side, but it is qualifying, so you got to let her hang out.
Yeah, definitely. And this qualifying course is a tight technical qualifier, which is kind of good because the race is tight and technical. So it's not like you have a super fast qualifier and then you go right off the bat, off the start into tight technical, because the people that are good at tight technical might not be good at fast, and the people that are good at fast might not be good in the tight technical.
Exactly.
So the qualifying does kind of match the race course here, which is good.
Yeah.
And this qualifier, I actually have ran some of this qualifier myself before in this area, and it's pretty narrow. Not right here, obviously, this is a start, but it is pretty narrow. There is some off-camber turns. It's pretty hard packed for the most part, but it is going to be a pretty good qualifier today. And I don't know, what do you think? Are we going to see, once we get to this afternoon, we have the all-wheel drive trophy trucks, and then we have two-wheel drive trophy trucks.
Yep.
I wonder how the difference is going to be between the all-wheel drives and the two-wheel drives. I would have to give a little bit more advantage to the all-wheel drive today, just because the tight technical and so many corners.
Right.
The all-wheel drive pulls out of the corners. That's where the big advantage is of it, right?
100%. The two-wheel drive trucks definitely shine in the big wide open holes, and I kind of feel like you stack them up next to each other and you go running down a big long whoop road, and they're going to be pretty evenly matched. But now when you get in this tight pulling out of the corner, pulling out of the corner, pulling out of the corner, when you've got all four wheels digging and pulling the vehicle, obviously you're just going to make that much more momentum into the next corner, which gives that all-wheel drive truck a bit more of an advantage. So there's definitely, in my opinion, going to be a pretty solid gap. I would be surprised if we saw a two-wheel drive truck crack into the top 6, top 7 trucks. Not saying it's unlikely. I'm a big fan of the two-wheel drive truck. I got no issues against them, but it's going to be really hard, I think, to kind of outdrive some of these all-wheel drive guys, especially when, looking back in previous qualifiers, you're like, oh, well, he's new in that truck, he's new in that truck. Most of these guys have a lot of seat time in these trucks now, and they've got them pretty well figured out.
Yeah, what would be really fast today on this course would be a UTV that was out there. If they were qualifying today, I think one of those would definitely be really far up in the pack, maybe even the top 5 on this course.
Yeah, I'm staying out of the pot stirring argument here, but yes, I would agree that a UTV would probably do extremely well around a course like this, especially at full tilt, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. You know, leading into this race, if some of you guys aren't too familiar with what we're talking about, there's been a lot of discussion. There is a UTV that has entered in Class 1 and is going to race with the Unlimiteds in Class 1. It is totally legal. It fits in the rules. There's not a rule against anything they're doing, but there's been a lot of discussion regarding the Spec trucks, which we're going to see right here in a little bit, whether they're going to catch the UTV or not, and how soon they're going to catch it, and if the bumper of the UTV is going to be destroyed, or if anyone's ever going to even see the bumper of the UTV. So it's going to be something fun to watch during the race. We don't get to watch much of that today because they're not qualifying.
No, yeah.
Class 1 can qualify, by the way. So those of you guys out there, if Class 1 wanted to qualify, Class 1 would be allowed to qualify. The only thing is they would still be starting where they are in the race. They would start in front of the Spec trucks, but they would still be behind the trophy trucks. So
right.
The Class 1 is not as big as it used to be, the class. They said, we don't really care, we're not going to qualify, and Class 1 doesn't qualify. But if they wanted to, they could.
Right.
So, and this is a look at our qualifying course, just about 5 miles long. You can see it's start, you go pretty, the fastest part of the section is the start, obviously, as we
absolutely.
can see.
Yeah.
After that, it gets pretty windy. This really doesn't show you too much in detail, but a lot of those turns are really tight. You can see there's a lot of 90s. Just look at some of those turns, specifically like towards the second half. There's quite a few 90s in there. It's going to be a tight technical course, which actually for us watching might make for some exciting action today.
Absolutely, and we're going to hope for the best. And as long as you can survive these first little bit here, so you got to see that you got 3 180s back to back. So you're going to run off the start, all full of jitters, wide open. You're going to make that 180 to the left, right back into full speed. You're going to go real tight 180 right, and then you're going to zigzag through that. You're going to 180 back left. Then it looks like you got some more wide open turns, 90 right, and I feel as if you can make it to that 90 right, you've kind of survived this qualifier. Now the rest of it's going to be kind of leaning on your navigator to make sure you check up at the right times and you don't make any mistakes, because it almost looks as if the second half of this is a little bit more high speed than the beginning of it. So we're going to definitely see, I think a lot of time can be made up at that beginning section. If you're going to be nice and smooth, it's going to make a big difference on the rest of your qualifier. Now, if you bobble these first couple of corners, it's going to be real tough to make that up, because especially in a Spec truck, everybody's going to be at the same pace the rest of this qualifier. So as we've seen in the past, navigators are so extremely important when it comes to a qualifier like this to make sure they're calling those corners and calling those notes, because the driver hasn't had those couple of miles to get settled in the truck. Everybody's got the jitters, everybody's all antsy. They're even doing their pre-driving rituals and all that, and maybe they're not quite in the right mindset to drive at this full pace. But, obviously we're going to hope for the best. We'll see how this all works out for everybody.
Yeah, definitely. And, before we do get started today, I just want to take 1 minute here. And, today is September 11th, which obviously in our history, that date has not always been so great. There was 2,977 people who we will never forget, and we will never forget this date. And just want to take a minute and, say that we remember what happened those years ago. And it's great to see everybody, continuing doing what we do, doing what we always do. Everyone moves on with their lives. They're going down, having fun, and we're excited to get some racing action going today. But we did want to remember, what date it was today, just real quick.
Absolutely.
We are about 1 minute away from the start of this race, and it's going to be Thor Herps starting his qualifying session for the race on Saturday. He is in the 219. Thor also is going to be having Pierce Herps in there, along with Jeremy Munyon, their co-driver, and Trevor Illingham in there. Today it is Thor driving, though, we're told. So Thor's going to be qualifying.
Yep.
In the 219.
And these 1.9 industry trucks sure have kind of shined in here, especially in Mexico. They've got them well sorted out. They've got a good clientele of people purchasing these trucks that are great at actually doing the whole race together. And so it's always nice to see these trucks do well.
All right.
We got first truck here off the line. All right.
So we are qualifying. There you go. And they are working on getting some of the other cameras up, so we will have some other camera views for you guys shortly.
Now, a lot of this stuff, if you obviously you're tuned in here live on the Score YouTube channel watching the live stream, but there is some live scoring options as well that will be updated as this begins. You can go results.score-international.com and you can follow along and see the times as they start populating.
Yeah, definitely, and big thanks to Optima for providing all of the live timing at Score events this year. Really makes a big difference having live timing, and it's really exciting to watch, especially during qualifying. We're going to have one timing loop that's halfway through the course, so we're going to get to see a time at about the halfway point. give us a little bit of insight as to who's fast in the first half, and then we'll see what their finish time is when they finish the second half. And hopefully we get some more cameras going for you guys soon.
Now, Fish, who do you think we're going to have for a top qualifier in the spec category?
In the spec category,
yeah,
huh?
let's do some bets here. Now, while we're waiting for cameras to populate, we're going to look here, look through our list. It's a pretty stacked field. I'll give you a couple minutes. You can look through the list. I mean, I've got my picks. I know who I would like to see win, but there's definitely some new names here. So who are you thinking?
Well, there's always the people you want to see win, and then there's the people that do win, right? Not always the same. Not always the same people.
Correct.
Well, one person obviously that I really hope has a good run today had a little bit of a bad run at the Baja 500 qualifying. He re-earned his nickname Mick Squirrel from our late friend Pistol Pete Soren. But Jason McNeil, I hope he has a good run today. He's actually driving the Elijah Kiger truck, the coastal truck today.
The 238.
So yeah, not his own truck.
Nope.
But
very similar.
Very similar, right?
Yeah, but both Tisco chassis, Tisco trucks, and at this point, very, very similar in setups and in everything. I mean, they did team up for the 1,000 last year, so. And Jason's one of those guys that you put him in anything with wheels and he's going to do well. He's got that McNeil blood in him. They're all super fast. But the one I'm kind of digging for is the 242 of Bryce Swaim. He was I think our 2018 Spec Truck Points champion. And he's back out there again in a new Tisco truck and giving it everything he's got. I'd like to see him do well. We've got our second truck here off the line, the 263 of EJ Herbst, another 19 Industries truck. Same thing, you got to think it's fun. Those guys sitting in staging, the Herbst brothers hanging out, trying to figure out what they got going on. I'm sure there's a bit of rivalry there. Who's going to run the quicker qualifier?
Yeah, do you think they got side bets between them?
Oh, I'm sure they do.
Right?
Yeah. And I mean, I coming from somebody who races with his brother pretty often, pretty much the only time I ever races with my brother, I would assume, there's notes to be shared and, hey, watch this corner, hey, watch that corner. I'm sure they're on their same channels and all that. So it's got to be a little helpful, to have a teammate go right in front of you, having Thor run before you, so he can relay some of that info right back to EJ as he goes out there on the track.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at the list, I mean, like we said, I got Jason McNeil. I think is going to be our top qualifier if he has a clean run again. But there is a couple other people in there that are always fast. Justin Davis, another name that pops out at me. He's always fast there, especially
very
usually
fast,
qualifying. And then actually, who's going to be our top qualifier is Epdali Lopez, the 273.
Oh, yeah.
How can you ever bet against Epdali Lopez to be a #1 qualifier as long as the car makes it all the way through the qualifying race?
Yeah, as long as the vehicle survives, he will definitely find himself in a great qualifying position.
That's probably going to be your top 3 right there, actually.
Yeah. I mean, we've got
What
Troy.
are you thinking? Let's hear your picks here then.
I'd like to see Bryce do well. I mean, he was quick in the past, and he's getting back on the horse and getting back to racing. So I'd like to see him finish well. We have Troy Grabowski driving the 236 truck for Mike Marceau. Those Grabowski guys are always fast, so there's always potential there. We do have a buggy driver, CJ Hutchins, driving the 277 for Travis Williams, and Travis is pretty darn fast in a buggy. CJ is pretty darn fast in a buggy, so I'm very curious to see how he does in the spec truck. Some of that finesse that it takes to keep those buggies moving fast down the track definitely will pay off here in the truck with a live rear axle. Speaking of him, the 277 off the line right now with CJ Hutchins behind the wheel. That is a newer Geyser G6 truck. Perfect trucks from Mexico, kind of planted, steers well, does great through all the bumps and all that stuff, and good visibility out of them. So I would assume that truck would do well here at this qualifier being as tight as it is. And here's our first look on a camera outside of the starting grid.
There we go.
Yeah, we're back to it. We got the drones up and flying. Big thank you to the drone. Big old sender there. I bet you McNeil makes the downside over there.
Yeah, right?
Turn that thing into a tabletop.
Thing.
Talk about a wild man. Big thank you to the drone operator. He's going to be out there battling the weather and the conditions all day today, flying around so we can enjoy ourselves at home. I know most of you guys are probably either ignoring your bosses or you have your what do you want to call this, Skype camera turned off so you can watch this live.
Right.
But But yeah, us at home enjoying this. It's a big thanks to the drone operators. We got a cool sand pit option here, pretty rad.
Yeah. You can see that's actually a big dip right there,
There's some pretty big dips.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is, navigators are going to play a pretty heavy role here in this qualifier. This is Fish and I's first sight here at our qualifying lap, so we're seeing it as you see it. There's definitely a couple of get-yous as you can see.
And one thing I noticed, the corners, a lot of times there's not any berms on a lot of these corners. They're very flat corners. So going through the corner, you're not going to be able to go in them real hot and try to hook up in a berm. There's not a lot of berm built up in many of these corners. So a little bit sketchy if you come in hot to some of these flat turns today. And we did get a time for EJ Herps here. So Thor did not, for some reason I didn't get a time for him, but EJ Herps is in with a 332.5 it looks like. So 332.5 for EJ Herps.
Cool.
That is their first time there. Travis Williams is out on course. He should be done next. If we get an updated time for Thor Herps, I will let you guys know. He was our first qualifier and we did not get a time for him, but here goes Charles Durant in the 299. He's next off the line.
Another Tisco truck. Proving themselves here in Mexico time and time again. They seem to be a popular option for spec truck drivers. I know, like we had talked earlier, you know, you got a lot of options when it comes to truck chassis. You know, you can get a low truck that runs pretty good through like the big wide open graded roads. You can get a little bit of a taller, nimbler, tighter truck that's maybe better suited for the Baja 400 course, you know, in the trees and all that, wants to turn a little bit better. So it's kind of, you know, it's getting to a point now where you can almost want to look at a season and what the courses are going to look like and potentially pick which chassis you want to race with, and especially if you're getting into this.
Yeah, definitely. So that may have been our midpoint time, is the only time we have so far for EJ at 3:32.
Yeah.
So we'll see if we get a finish time for Thor Herps. Once we get some more cars out on course here, we'll have some more times for you guys. We're supposed to have a midway time today and then a finish time. And so far, the only time that has populated is EJ with a midway time. So we'll see what happens the rest of the day here as these move on. One thing you mentioned about different setup and stuff like that, one thing we're going to see, here we go, here's another camera, another drone camera. That is the 263 right there. So that is EJ Herps. You can see he's still out on course. So the 3:32 time is his halfway time.
Yep.
We don't have a halfway time for Thor, though, so nothing to compare it to yet.
Nope. We got the 277 of Travis Williams, driven by CJ Hutchins. We got his halfway point time at a 3:34. So we're 2 seconds slower than EJ Herps. We'll see how the time gets made up there on the back end. We don't have a finish time, obviously, for EJ because he's still out on course. Whoa. There's some get-yous around some of these corners here.
There is, definitely.
Got the 294 of Vincent Munoz going off the line. Good old 1450 racer, buddy of ours. We've all raced together from the California deserts all over the place, and it's always great to see him. He's always there. He's always top 5 guy running. Vince is just good and steady and consistent.
Yeah, old 1450 guy.
Yeah, that's it.
Always got to give those guys a shout out every time we
Yeah.
see him out here racing with the big boys.
Yeah. Yeah, we just raced with him recently. We raced Glen Helen short course race there with Moore, and he had his wife Danielle drive the 1450 truck. That was super exciting to watch and super fun. It was a great family, very involved in racing. The boys race motorcycles, and him and his wife raced the truck together. They all go down to Mexico and pre-run and chase as a whole family. Definitely a great family in off-road racing, and I love seeing them still going and still doing it.
Yeah, all right, we have a couple more times. So we have EJ Herps has come in with a finish time, so 6:34.432 for EJ Herps. That is our first finish time we've recorded. We will have to get you guys Thor Herps time because it did not work on the tracker. Travis Williams has made it halfway around. He is at 3:34.6 right now, and you said that is CJ Hutchins actually driving
Correct.
today,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
So CJ is halfway around. He is currently 2 seconds off of the EJ Herps time at the halfway point.
At the halfway point, correct. So we'll see how the time gets made up on the back end. Here we go. We got the drone shot here of CJ driving.
They have no spares.
No
you
spares.
said, so that's a little bit of strategy today.
Sure.
What would you do on this course, you think, just from what you've seen so far? What would you run with?
Well, personally, my truck, when it comes to a qualifier like this, if I'm going to be throwing the truck around and kind of jamming, there's not big, long whoop runs. My truck handles ideal with either half tank full 2 spares or full tank no spares. So it depends if we want to play head games with the guys or whatnot, but definitely potentially full tank, no spares, make everybody kind of second guess what they got going on. Maybe they'll pull their spares off. But yeah, no, I would definitely keep a little bit of a lighter vehicle for this one. We got the 213 of Josh Beyer there going off the line.
And we have a halfway time for Charles Durance, just came up, so the 299 is at 3:52. So he's about, what is that, 15, 17 seconds or something like that off the leaders at the halfway point right now.
Right. Got a couple locals here hanging out. This is non-spectating, but they seem to find their way out there.
There's always some.
Mexico things, huh? Got the 236 here, the Mike Marsal entry. This will be driven by Troy Grabowski. My inside sources have told me so.
Oh, there you go.
These guys have definitely been putting the work in when it comes to racing spec trucks. They put the effort into testing. They put the effort into tuning. They're down here doing their homework, doing their notes. They're definitely giving it 100% effort. And you know, the results have been showing. They've been doing well. They're climbing up the ladder. They're doing great. And you know, I'm really hoping we can see these guys put that truck up on top of the box. And then when you got a Grabowski behind the wheel, there's always the potential of a hot qualifier. So
definitely,
Grabowski boys are wild.
Those guys are fast. Speaking of qualifiers, Travis Williams is in with a 6:38.001. So he was 2 seconds behind on the first half, and he's 4 seconds behind at the finish. So very consistent. So far, Travis Williams is 4 seconds off our lead time that we have from EJ Herbst. However, we do not know what Thor Herbst's time was.
Correct. Pretty respectful run for a guy who spends most of his time driving dune buggies.
Yeah, CJ Hutchins there with a good run in the Travis Williams car, right?
Yeah. We'll see how it lands with everybody else here, but that's not a hard that's a hard transition. You know, I just spent some time driving stock Beetles recently. Basically a buggy guy now.
Yeah, full buggy dork.
Completely different than trucks, I'll tell you what. A little bit of a learning curve. You check the old Instagram, you'll see me put that thing on the lid, but it is what it is, you know?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But now you know where the edge is.
Yeah, I found the edge quick. Here goes the 236 of Mike Marsal taking off. I know that's an Evan Weller Racing prepped, maintained, tuned truck. Keith Marigold tunes the shock absorbers on that one. I know Evan puts his heart and soul into those trucks and makes sure that all of his customers and clients and everybody have the best machine for the race. So definitely cool to see the hard work pay off.
All right, we have a time for Vincent Munoz at the halfway point. He's at 3:42.3, so he's about 8 seconds behind second place and about 12 seconds behind first place at this point, or 10 seconds behind first place at the halfway point. We'll see if he can pick it up the second half a little bit.
You're way better at math than me, man. I was looking at these numbers. That make no sense to me.
Hey, the way I do it is you just make some shit up, and half people don't even know if you're right or wrong anyway, so it don't matter.
He's 12 minutes ahead, setting a blistering lap.
Exactly. That's Charles Durance right there, it looked like, in the 299. And he has just come across the finish with a 7:04. So 7:04 for Charles Durance, 7:04.341. All right, so Travis Williams, EJ Herbst, Charles Durance across the finish line. Thor Herbst also, we don't know his time yet. And Vincent Munoz should be coming across the finish line next. Now this section of the qualifier today is also going to be the race course on Saturday.
Oh.
So that's something a little bit new. We have never, I don't think we've ever qualified at SCORE where you're actually on the race course during the qualifier. So that's a little bit interesting, something new there. Look at that jump.
There you go, Vinny. That's a hitter. I think if I was going to watch the race, I'd probably sit right there.
That's a good spot to watch it.
I'd set my easy up right there, lawn chair, kick my feet up, fight everybody that tries to sit in front of me.
Definitely. All right, another car off the line. Stephen Beal here in the 241. We're told that is Sean Geiser supposedly driving the truck today. He is on the entry list with them. So there you go. It looks like Sean Geiser off the line in the Stephen Beal 241. That is Vincent Munoz there, coming around on the last part of his qualifier. We should have a time for him coming in any second, as soon as he makes about 2 more turns or so. Josh Beyer out on course as well right now in the 213. Let's see, is someone going to fly right into the drone here? So an unofficial time we have someone down there is 6:29 for Thor Herbst. So that's unofficial time, but that would be the fastest qualifier so far. Kind of makes sense.
Yeah, about 5 seconds.
Yeah, I could see that time, so it's probably pretty close to that.
That math I can do.
Yeah, there's some math. You got that one?
Or is that 6 seconds? Crap, 6 seconds. Oh, I didn't.
6 seconds. No, it's 5 seconds. 6:34.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. Don't ever second guess yourself. Oh, look at that. Getting sideways there. Sliding in that turn is Mike Mersal coming around. There's no berms on these turns, like I said earlier, so it's kind of sketchy. Like you gotta really keep it in the groove, and there's not a lot of groove actually. Speaking of that either, this is very hard packed out here.
Yeah. Luckily for the trophy truck guys later on today, hopefully all these spec truck guys will dig a little bit of a groove, put a bit of a line in it. But just seeing how loose and kind of, you know, unstable some of these lines are, especially when you get like the water ruts like that and the rain ruts trying to dig through there, that all-wheel drive is definitely going to play a big advantage.
Yeah, that's going to definitely come into play. Because they're not, you know, the all-wheel drive trucks are not any faster on the top end. They're actually slower than some of the two-wheel drives on the top end. Where they gain all their time is out of the corners because they have 4 wheels gripping instead of 2, obviously.
That's it. Got the 242 of Bryce Swaim and this brand new Tisco spec truck here. I don't know if you've seen on the internet, but Bryce got himself a new pre-runner too. The thing's darn beautiful.
I did see that thing. That thing is pretty nice.
Holy smokes.
Some of these pre-runners nowadays are, they're too nice to take in the dirt.
Yeah,
you know?
I don't know if I would. The interior on these pre-runners is nicer than the interior on the truck that I drive every day.
It's like Ferrari or Lambo interior on these things, you know? They're taking it down here in Baja, beating them up. Like, yeah,
I know that. I think that Coastal pre-runner that just got done, it's got like full King Ranch interior.
Oh,
pretty
man,
impressive stuff.
Yeah, it's pretty nice stuff coming out. It's pretty cool to see the stuff that the off-road industry is building nowadays.
Absolutely.
The level that it's been taken to has been kicked up a few notches. Whoa, look at that, almost into the tree there. So there's zero berm on any of these corners.
Yeah, so this is definitely a traction race. So that's where your setup's really going to play a role. It's like, you know, you got to do a sight lap, so you've got some time to make some adjustments and some changes. And obviously more rear weight in the truck. That's pretty much the only thing you can really mess with aside from shock adjustments, sway bar adjustments, what have you. But just changing the weight in the back of the truck is the simplest thing to do. And the more weight you have behind that axle, you got to think about it kind of like your dirt bike. I know a lot of you guys have rode motorcycles. When you sit back on that fender and back on that seat, it's just going to dig that rear tire deeper into the ground and make it drive further forward. So maybe having more weight in the back when there is no groove or no line, it kind of keeps traction on the truck and keeps you driving forward.
That makes a lot of sense. Look at that right there. You don't want to go on the right there,
no.
right? That's a pretty big washout on the right side there. If we see somebody go that right line, it's going to be bad.
That's a big jump. I wish we could get a ground camera right there and really grasp how big, because the deal is if something looks big in a drone, it's very big in real life.
From the ground,
It's the whole GoPro effect, you know? If
Definitely.
somebody's filming something with a GoPro, it doesn't look that wild, but when you see it in real life, kind of mind-blowing.
All right, so we got times for Vincent Munoz here. So he's in with a 6:53.017. So really good time for Vince there, not bad. He's ahead of Charles Durant so far there. Then Josh Beyer is in with a 7:01.173. And Ryan Hancock right there just took off the line with Jordan Poole in the car with him in the Alexander Ford truck. This looks like that is Sean Geiser right there.
Yep.
Driving the Stephen Beal entry, the 241.
Looks like some of that dust is just sitting. We could use a little breeze down there, it looks like.
Definitely a bit dusty today. The good thing is they are spread out from each other, so I don't think anybody's going to go into someone's dust directly today. No. Look at that. You think that tree is going to be there by the end of the day?
No, that tree is going to get caught by a trophy truck guy for sure.
That thing is for sure getting taken out.
You come in there with a little too much momentum and you're flat tracking it like that,
Yeah, that corner is going to be one that's going to, someone's going to clip that thing for sure.
Pretty cool qualifier down in the trees and all that. Makes you feel like at the zoo or something. Rowdy.
All right, Mike Mersal is in with a 6:36.368.
It's pretty good. What's that, put him in the number 3 spot?
I believe he's in number 3 unofficially. Yeah, it's going to be Thor Herbst unofficially number 1. EJ Herbst is 2nd, and then that should be Mike Mersal is going to be 3rd. They're about 2 seconds behind EJ Herbst.
And then the 4th will be the 277 entry of Travis Williams, driven by CJ Hutchins. And we got the big old jump. My favorite part of this qualifier, I think.
There it is. Yeah, we're really going to see some people send that thing later in the trophy truck class, that's for sure.
You think Jason McNeil's going to go for it? Or do you think he learned a little something? He'll probably go for it.
He's going to go for it. Come on, who are we talking about here?
Even this corner here, man, you push that corner out a little too far, you catch that berm and it shoots you down into that canyon. Like, I'm pretty sure we've seen some clips before during races, people land in there a little goofy. Definitely a lot of spots here that if you slip up just the tiniest bit, it's going to cause some issues.
Definitely.
Got the 258 here, Maverick Gaunt, taken off the line. I know there's been a little rumbling on the internet of
what was that on the back of that thing?
Some of his aero choices and options, but hey, man, it might work.
Yeah, did you guys see that thing? There was a big, what is that thing? A big wing, basically, vertical wing, or what do you call it? Vertical wing, basically, in the middle of the truck that they installed there. You'll probably see it in some of the drone shots.
Following along here with Bryce Swaim in that new Tisco truck.
I think somebody's been watching Drive to Survive a little bit too much.
Maybe. Hey, you can't knock it if it works. We'll see how this lines up.
If it doesn't work, though, then you're like, all right, that didn't work.
Yeah, I know. Everts and them have been working close. I think they work with Walker Performance, or they work a lot with the aero stuff. If you look at the back of that Gaunt truck, they got a whole big wing situation that kind of packages the coolers and packages the spares, just to kind of try and get that air to mellow out and, you know, knock down some of the resistance and all that. And it's a thing, you know, when all these trucks are stacked up pretty darn evenly, they've all got the same engines, everybody's running the same tire size these days. It comes down to a couple things, you know, that's your converter setup, that's your gearing options and your underdrive. That's a little bit of engine tuning here and there, but you can only do so much within the constraints that the engine will handle. And then there's aerodynamics. And a lot of people argue back and forth like, oh, it doesn't matter, oh, it does matter, blah, 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 this or that. But I mean, I don't know, you're dragging a brick through the air. If you can make that brick a little smoother than the guy next to you, it might pay off. You know, a mile per hour here, a mile per hour there, over 400 miles could definitely add up to something worthwhile and, you know, maybe put you in a good spot at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. The times will tell shortly. And speaking of times, we have a new fast qualifier. We have Steven Beal with Sean Geiser driving in with a 6:28.866.
Hey.
Now, we did have an unofficial time for Thor Herbst of 6:29-ish.
Right.
So 6:29 is pretty close to 6:28.8.
True.
So Thor could be faster. We don't know for sure. But on our official timing so far today, we have Steven Beal with Sean Geiser driving as the new fast time at a 6:28.
Impressive. We just saw the 282 truck of Brent Fox, probably the man with the most seat time this year in a spec truck. He's got two of those things now, and I think if you look at any and every entry list this year, everything from Morse, Snore, all the other sanctioning bodies, you'll see that man's name on the entry list. So he's definitely using those trucks up and having a great time out there in the desert.
And then we should see some in-car footage today too, I believe. A few of these people I know are going to be running in-car footage today, and we should be able to have the links to get you guys the footage on here and show you guys some in-car cameras. I know that the Herbs had one earlier, and a couple people later for sure are going to have them. So anytime we see someone with that, we'll try to show you guys. That is a look at the Alexander Ford truck right there. Ryan Hancock, the 228.
We have his split time. He's at 350, a little off, but we'll see if he can make it up here on the big end where it counts.
And I believe that is their old truck that they were racing down here. They were gonna alternate. They did just get a new Herbst truck. This looks like that's not the Herbst truck right there. I don't believe, right?
Yeah, I do believe that is the Tisco chassis.
Yeah, I think they were going to alternate because they just raced the Herbst truck, so now they're going to use the Tisco for this race. It's a good problem to have when you have multiple spec trucks and you're trying to decide which one you want to race at which race.
All right.
Oh, there we go. Oh, getting a little wide. Oh, good thing that wasn't on the right side, or that would have been really bad.
And the big jump. Let's see what we got here. If I was sitting down there, I'd be sitting down with the scorecards.
Definitely.
Scoring those jumps.
All right, here goes Ethan Hagel in the 245. Now, this entry here today is going to be interesting. I want to see if their times are as fast as their keyboard typing is.
I'm not touching the pot. You're stirring it, not me.
I'm just saying. We'll see what happens today.
I know that GFO chassis has been pretty impressive as of late. They've been doing real well with it. I know they've had other chassis and they've been alternating back and forth, and I believe this one, on their entry, it's down as a GFO. Seth and Danny putting some hard work into those things, making sure those things are in tip-top shape, so it's always cool to see, you know, the underdog chassis builder out there running.
All right, so Bryce Swaim is in with a 636.916. So 636, respectable time.
We got a shot here, a Gaunt coming through on a sick one, it looks like. Really doing it.
There's that wing. Look at that thing you were talking about on the back there.
Yep.
So the question is that thing really doing anything for an off-road truck on a course like this?
It's hard to say. I mean,
it definitely gets some views.
But if you think about it, drive your car even at 30 miles an hour, stick your hand out the window. And you make tiny adjustments to your fingers, your hand, or what have you, and you'll feel how your hand gets pulled different directions. So anything hanging off the back of these trucks or changing the shape of them is going to affect it a bit. So, I mean, it's hard to say here.
Yeah.
I know the Gaunts are a sprint car family, circle track guys, where leaning on that wing is definitely helpful at high speeds when you're ripping around circles, and on fire roads I would see that be very helpful. I don't know if it's a real big positive for qualifying.
Are they going to leave it on for the race, or is it only for qualifying, I wonder?
I'm not sure. But hey, you know what? It's got us thinking about it. It's got us talking about it. Yeah.
As I said, the views are up.
Yeah. Can't knock them for that.
Yeah.
You know, maybe there's some kid at home watching this and is getting his gears turning. Maybe he's got the next big idea, and a year from now, all the trucks are going to have something hanging off the back of them. Who knows? You know,
Yeah.
I'm all for innovation. I'm not going to knock nothing anymore.
All right, so we should have some more times coming in soon. We should get a Ryan Hancock time, and there it is, 7:04.415 for Ryan Hancock. So a bit of a conservative time there, but a clean run it looked like. So 7:04.415.
Our next time should be the Gaunt entry. We'll see how that.
Yeah, once they
stacks
finish,
up.
we'll see. Are they going to take the top spot with that big old wing thing on the back there, or no? I believe, is this Brent Fox here, it looks like, on course? Brent Fox.
Yep.
He has a 3:33 going at the halfway time.
Ooh, on a sick one.
Yeah, 3:33 at halfway.
On a heater.
That would be the fast, almost fast, but only about a half second off from our fast guy so far. We did have a 3:27. Oh, here we go. Look at this, the answer to our question. Maverick Gaunt just jumped up to the top spot with a 6:26.315.
All right.
So 6:26 for the big wing.
Good job.
Was it the wing or was it not?
You know, I'm going to give a lot of it to the Gaunts. They're wheelmen for sure. They can drive real hard.
That was Chasen driving today, right?
I'm not sure.
That's what we had on our
Okay,
list, but
yeah.
we'll have to confirm that. It may
Yeah.
have been Chasen. That's his brother, right?
Yeah.
Driving.
Hey, you know what? Maybe it was the wing.
Maybe
it was the wing.
So the question is, next qualifier at the Baja 1000, are we going to see all these spec trucks out here with big old wings on the back because
I don't know.
they just laid down the fastest time of the day so
we've
far?
got 3 days. Are we going to see a bunch of big wings before the start of the race?
Are they going to leave it for the race?
I don't know.
If you go out and you qualify like that and your plan was to take it off, are you going to rethink your plan and be like, you know what, maybe we'll just leave it on?
Well, I know Tucker's probably watching this. Tucker is in tight with the Gaunt family. Tucker, shoot me a text. Are we racing with this wing or are we not?
Yeah.
That's what we want to know.
Confirmed it is Chasen driving. We just confirmed
Okay.
that. So, yeah, that's definitely an interesting thing there.
Maybe it worked. Like I said, I'm not knocking it.
Yep.
It might be the next hot thing. You
Okay,
don't
so
know.
we just got word from Cameron Parrish that this qualifying only was the plan.
Okay.
So that actually goes back to my question. You go out and you set a good qualifying run like that. Do you rethink and be like, okay, we were going to take it off, but what if we leave it on?
My fear would be knocking it off during race and it causing problems with other components on the back of the truck.
Like hitting the radiator, putting one of the studs into the struts into the radiator or something like that.
Yeah, if you catch it on a tree, you do something like that and it kind of wreaking havoc in the back of the car. That would be my only fear. But heck, I don't know. I don't know what the back of that truck looks like.
Yeah,
Maybe
all
we
right.
got it all tidied up.
Brent Fox is in with a 6:33.439.
Yeah.
So that's another good time for a good qualifying time there. So far, a top, what was that, top 5 or 6 maybe for Brent Fox there.
We got the Hagel entry here.
Here we go.
Putting something down.
Other than keys.
Good looking body on that truck. That's a good looking truck.
Now we do have a side bet going on with them also. The side bet is if they're going to catch the Class 1 entry of Max Eddy in his Polaris Pro R UTV. I believe I have about $100 on the line.
Oh.
So I said no, they're never going to catch them. We're going to see.
We'll see.
We'll see on Saturday. we won't see today.
No, not today. A little conservative there off the big old sender, which could pay off. You know, you don't ever want to oversend something and really do something bad.
Yeah, you can't win the race today, but you could definitely lose the race today.
That's it. We got the 205 entry of Joe DeLuce.
So we should have a time for the Hagels pretty soon. They're getting close to the finish there. Once we get that, we'll let you guys know what it is. They were 3:39 at the halfway, was the Hagels time at halfway, 3:39. The 266, David Ziegler is out on course as well. He was a 3:46 at the halfway point.
It's kind of looking, I'm seeing the trend here. You got to be sub 3:30
to have a good top time.
Yeah, to have a great, I mean, unless you really pull a rabbit out of your hat in the second half, but all of our top qualifiers here, I mean, we'll go down the list here. Maverick Gaunt with a 3:27, Beal with a 3:29. I don't have one for Thor. We've got a tentative time here of him, of an overall. Brent Fox with a 3:33, 3:32, 3:33. So yeah, it's like if you want to run in these top 4 or 5 spots, you've got to be within the 3 minutes and 30-second range at your halfway point.
Definitely. And speaking of times, Ethan Hagel is in with a 6:43. So 6:43.904 for Hagel. That puts him currently in the 9th position.
What are you gonna do if you win your $100?
I don't know.
What are you gonna do if you lose your $100?
Pay it.
Are you gonna be in trouble at home?
No,
Okay.
I think I'll be all right. Actually, what I'll do is I'm probably gonna get Max Eddy, and we're gonna go to the bar and we're gonna have some drinks for $100. Which nowadays at a bar, that's about 2 drinks.
That's what I say. It's about 2 or 3 drinks. All right.
Yeah.
Big spender here. No appetizers,
Exactly.
just drinks.
Max, don't mess it up for me. Or I'm coming after you for the $100. Yeah. There's the 266 headed off the jump. We got Mitch McNeil going off the line next in the 203.
Got a good amount of pace there off the start. Made some traction, picked the line, took off. Did we miss the Justin Davis takeoff? We did. The 285. We got Justin Davis on the track.
There he is. That's going to be one of the fast times as
Yeah.
always.
No. Let's see here. We don't have a halfway point yet for him, do we? Justin. Yeah, we got 3:31.
Okay, so he's right by the 3:30 mark that you got to be at. It seems like to have one of the top times.
Yeah. We'll see if he can make it up on the big end. As of right now, that puts him in the number 3 spot of halfway points. So we're going to see how he does at the second half of the lap here.
All right.
Justin Davis on a terror. You can see he knows where he wants that truck to go, and he's putting it there.
Okay, we did get a time for Thor Herbst that popped up here now, and it is 6:29.005. So there you go, 6:29.005. So right on what Baja Nikki had. So there you go, Nikki. Good job, Baja Nikki, doing your timing.
Yep. I'm gonna think this would be our number 3 qualifier right here of what we have sitting down, just based on his time and
based on what we got so far.
Yeah.
So so far, if you're just joining us, we have Maverick Gaunt at the number 1 spot with the big wing on the back with a 6:26. We got Stephen Beal with a 6:28. That was Sean Geiser driving. It was Chasen driving the Gaunt entry. And then we have Thor Herbst in the 3rd spot right now with a 6:29. That is your top 3 right now.
Oof.
And Brent Fox is just outside of that in 4th.
That might have been one of the bigger jumps we've seen today. Davis on a terror. Let's see if he make his time up on the second half here of this qualifier.
David Ziegler is in with a 6:56.363.
That's got to be the hardest thing if you're watching Davis here, coming off those big jumps and you're full tilt, full speed, and then you got to whoa it up for that 90 right down in that little canyon.
Yeah, with no berms.
No
right?
berms.
No
Yeah,
berms
you're just flat
anywhere.
tracking the thing.
The whole thing is flat track. Mason Cullen in the number 207. John Hoffman prepped entry off the line. And Justin Davis, we should have a time for him shortly. Should be into the finish soon. I'll probably scroll back up because I think, like you said, he's going to be towards the top here.
Yep.
So watch for him to populate up there.
We're following along here, the 205 Spencer Lowe racing truck. With those cool Nissan throwback livery.
It's a little bit more of a one-off build, right?
Yep. I think he's on his 7th chassis. I follow him Spencer pretty closely on the internet. I love watching the trucks he's building. He's been knocking these chassis out left and right. And yeah, I want to say yesterday I saw maybe he had forklifted chassis number 7 off the table.
Okay.
So he's moving and grooving when it comes to putting these trucks together, and they're proving themselves. You know, they look like good trucks in my opinion. So it's just a matter of time before one of these finds themselves up on a box and doing something rad.
All right, Justin Davis's time is in, and you are off, unfortunately. You are off by 0.3.
Dang.
3/10 of a second out of third place. He's in 4th place currently with a 6:29.339. So 4th place for Justin Davis right now.
I'll take a 0.33 deficit here.
That's pretty close.
Guess,
yeah, pretty close.
From sitting here watching a television screen. That's a good corner there. So that's something you want to do on these qualifiers. You don't want to be hanging things out. You know, you can break this down to how many turns are on it. When you're on a 4-mile qualifier, you call it 10 turns, 12 turns, what have you. And if you can save a little bit of time each and every one of those little corners, it's going to add up, especially.
Oh, they add up huge.
Yeah, and you look here, you know, like the time gap between 3rd and 4th is, you know, 0.3 of a second.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, that is whether or not you took the inside line, the outside line, you broke a little early, maybe you stayed on throttle a little too long and it pushed you out. So every little inch of a qualifier matters.
Yeah, I mean, the time difference between 2nd and 4th right now is half a second.
Right.
You know, I mean, it's literally half a second between 2nd and 4th right now.
And
being on the box and not on the box.
Yeah, and that's the beauty here of the spec truck racing. You know, these are, as much as you want to call this guy faster, that guy faster, they're pretty evenly matched trucks. When you get into the top 10 trucks here in spec truck racing, they're very, very, very evenly matched. Horsepower numbers, travel numbers, torque numbers, converter settings, all that stuff. They're all going to be very, very similar trucks. So where it does come down to the driver, you know, that's a big, you know, appeal to a lot of people when they look at spec truck racing is, hey, you know, this isn't so much 100% checkbook racing. A lot of it does come down to who's turning the steering wheel and pushing the pedals to the floor. So it makes spec truck racing a little bit more exciting, in my opinion, personally.
Definitely, it's one of the most exciting classes to race right now because of that reason as well. So we have the 205. Joe Delouche is in with a 642.324. So 642, 324.
Coming through the trees here.
Mitch McNeil is going to be our next one on course.
Yeah.
Is that Mitch right there?
Yep, that is him.
So Mitch McNeil's at 3:38 at the halfway point. So he's about 8 seconds off the leaders or so, 8 to 10 seconds off. We'll see where he ends up. He's currently in 10th position.
Good looking truck there.
He went with the 1 spare. He went halfway in the middle, right in the middle, right?
Yeah, maybe it's full of water.
Could be.
You never know.
You never know. It could be full of NOS too.
Very well could be.
I mean, who would ever put a bottle of something like that in their spare tire? You know. I don't know.
I don't know about the spare tire, but you definitely could.
Into car, it would be interesting.
Now here's one of your picks. We got the 273 entry of Jordan Brenthal, but that was being driven by Abdali Lopez.
Abdali Lopez.
What do you think he's going to do? You think he's going to be number 1?
Yes.
You think he'll knock Maverick off?
As long as the truck finishes in one piece.
Fair. Okay.
Abdali probably has a little bit of time on this track too, or in this area.
Right. Home field advantage.
Home field advantage is always a plus.
Should have a time here for Mitch McNeil pretty soon.
Yeah, where was he? Was at
6:46 as we got for Mitch McNeil.
All right, so that puts Mitch in 12th position.
Next time we'll be getting will be the 207 entry of Mason Cullen. We'll see where that one lands us. Looks like we got a little bit of breeze down there. The dust seems to be migrating away from the race line. That always helps a little bit.
Yeah, it'll probably pick up throughout the day, huh?
Pretty exciting spot right here where the trucks kind of get close to each other.
That is kind of cool. You can see a couple of them there. That'd be a good spot to spectate.
Yeah. There's the 207.
Mason Cullen?
Yeah. See how he does off the big old sender here.
Yeah, it's got a lot of runway up to that jump too, right?
do.
Like you can get some speed. You can pretty much hit that thing as fast as you want. Oh, he checked up.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, he
Might be
checked up
smart.
a bit there.
I know it would take a little bit of self-control for me not to send that thing to the moon.
Well, I mean, honestly, if you check up for that, you're giving up your top
Yeah.
time because we've seen guys send that thing full speed. So if you just brake for a half a second, you're probably losing 2 seconds on your time for the amount of speed you're losing there. All right, so the 209 we just saw head out on course. Next, we should be getting a time for Mason Cullen in just a bit here. Mason was at a 3:42 at the halfway point. And we have the 297 San Patero entry on the course at 3:31. So there we go. That's a
All right.
good time. You know, the 297, the George San Patero there, they always are fast.
Yeah,
I
very
see
much
that
so.
name at the top quite a bit in the Spec truck racing down in Baja.
Yeah.
So 3:31.
And I know I believe they have Elias Hanna driving that truck too. I don't know if he's qualifying or he's on there. I saw him doing some pre-running in his old 7 truck. So Elias is always fast. You know, he did very, very, very well in the 7 truck category, did great in the Spec truck category in his own truck. And it's very smart of them, I think, to bring him on board to be a part of this program. And whether he's driving right now or not, I'm not too sure.
That's
But,
a Mason.
Yeah.
Tell that by looking at the front there. We have a time for Mason Cullen, speaking of Mason, 6:46.765 for Mason Cullen. That puts him in the 13th position, just ahead of Vincent Munoz and right behind Vince McNeil by literally 2/100ths of a second. 6:46.7 versus 6:46.7, and the other one is a 7.4 and he's a 7.6. So that is the difference of him lifting for that one jump or not. Right there. That was one position by that one lift right there.
Yep.
That's how much it comes into play in Spec truck racing.
Yeah, we got a split time here for your top pick with Epdali in the 273, the Brenthal truck, at a 3:31.
Yep.
So he's up there. He's got the
He's
potential
got to pick
to do
it up
something.
a little bit though, because what was the fastest so far? 3:27.
Yeah.
So he's 4 seconds off the lead right now at the halfway point.
This should be the 206 entry potentially. I don't know what we got going on there.
It's hard to see that one there. Either Josh Cobb or Chris Miller. I believe Chris Miller was not going to race, so we'll see.
Should have a San Pietro time here in any second. Should populate. I bet he's in the top 4 for sure. Yep,
I think that
5th.
was the...
I'm off by 1 spot. If I say anybody and you guys are sports betting at home, just add a number, and that's probably where you're gonna land.
Oh, okay, yeah, the 297. All right, so he's in. The San Patero entry's in with a 6:30.851. So 6:30.
Pretty solid. But we look here on the screen, we got Abdali doing Abdali things, getting loose, getting wild, being fast.
He's got to pick it up. He's 4 seconds off at the halfway point. If he doesn't qualify first, it's obviously because he didn't have the big aerodynamic vertical wing on the back.
Maybe.
So
Maybe that's it.
They'll probably have that on there. This is a Brenthal truck. They're probably at the shop right now designing one
Potentially.
for the next race if he doesn't qualify first. They should be.
They got Binkert down there taking photos in the Method Chevy. Getting dusted out. I wonder where Tony's at. Where's Tony on track taking photos today? That's what we all want to know. Well, let's see how Abdali does the big old jump.
Well, you know he's not lifting.
Well, we got brake lights.
Were you sure?
Yeah, I seen him light up.
Maybe just set it up a little bit.
Maybe. A little nose dip and dive.
That definitely was not the largest jump we've seen today.
I'm wondering who's sitting right there at the bottom of that corner that's going to be posting those on Instagram all day long.
Oh, you know there's going to be those footage, that footage from there all day for sure, yeah.
Good clean corner there, set you back up for the left.
It's got to have a cool spot to watch right there too, because you're up on the cliff, right? You're up above the car.
And you can see the jump. You can see both
see that
jumps,
one jump too, probably, yeah.
I'm into the sandpit jump. Sandpit jump looks pretty fun.
Yeah. So I think that was the 290 that went off a bit ago, the truck that we didn't know. That looks like Chris Miller's truck.
No,
right
that's the Trey Gibbs entry.
Okay,
so
we're
that'll
down
be
to
the
232.
Yep.
That is the Chelsea Magnus driver of record. Chelsea's not racing this race, but you are allowed to use a driver of record for one race during the year, the way the score does it now. And that way they are able to qualify because Trey Gibbs did not race at the prior race. Chelsea did, so they're using the Chelsea entry so that Trey gets to qualify.
Let's see. We're getting a closer shot here of this truck. Is that the... that the Isidro Ochoa entry here, maybe? Is that where we're looking at?
I believe it is, yes, the 290, because we have a timer going for them.
Okay.
All right, Jordan Brenthal entry with Abdali Lopez is in with a 635, all the way down to 8th position.
He jinxed him.
Something had to have been going on today.
He jinxed him.
He didn't have his coffee this morning or something. Something's going on there. That is the slowest I've seen Abdali in a while. No offense, but he's usually like really
yeah, he's up there.
Not like that. Is that bad, right? Your 8th position is still pretty good. He's, what is he, 6 seconds, 7 seconds off or something?
Yeah. So for those of you at home wanting to see these results, the powered by Optima here, you can see the same thing Fish and I are looking at. If you go to results.score-international.com, you'll click on the Spec Truck qualifying. There's a whole list down menu. You can pick some options there. Great way to follow along qualifying, great way to follow along racing. Optima did a great job helping us make this all happen so we can kind of get a better idea of what we're looking at around the racetrack.
And the 209 right there, I don't recognize the driver of record name, but if we look at the people that are with him, that is Santiago Creel is listed on that truck. So normally, Santiago Creel is one of the drivers of records for most of the races we've seen in the past. Yeah. So this truck, I'm not sure who's driving this truck today, but that is what the 209 truck is right there.
And then here's your second top pick here, the 238 entry of Elijah Kiger, driven by Jason McNeil. Now, I just really hope the drone shows him off the big old jumps, because you know he's not going to lift.
No.
Last name's McNeil, cutting his teeth at Tough Trucks in Del Mar, where the best drivers are born.
That's right, the Del Mar Fairgrounds, the top qualifying spot for any off-road racer in the world.
That's it. You really want to be somebody, you better have a trophy from Tough Trucks.
That's right, and try to beat Dan Vance. Good luck.
Yeah, good. The old DV.
All right, so all of our spec trucks that we have on our list should be on the course right now. This is actually not to jinx it or anything, but we went pretty quickly through those 27 or 37, however many it was, 27 trucks on the list. So we have the the 209 just finished. Where did their time go? I'll have to scroll up and find it. There it is, 16th position. So the 209, Jose is in with a 649. 649.050.
Follow along here. I'm trying to catch this truck's number here. I'm
this
not sure if this is
be
the 206
the 290?
or the 290.
Should be the 290.
Okay.
The Ochoa entry.
Yep. Okay. Yeah. We got a.
Yep. 290. There we go. You can see it on the roof there.
Oh, with a 324. Oh, what do we got there? The 232. Yeah, so the Trey Gibbs driving here. That's a new, is that the fastest so far?
Yes, that is the fastest first.
Smokes.
So halfway through, we got 232, the Trey Gibbs with Chelsea Magnus, driver of record, a 324.
Yeah.
Halfway through, that is the fastest time by 3 seconds.
Impressive.
Right now.
Now that is the old Provardi truck.
Okay, so that's what truck we're seeing there?
It's been tuned and dialed in, and Trey's no slouch either. He's a real quick driver. I just saw him the other weekend out there at Crandon running the short course program. Dude definitely knows how to wheel a truck, so no surprise there to see if we see that thing maybe knock off that top spot and put himself up there. It's a 290 entry here. See how he does off the big old jumper. A little cautious there.
All right, so the 206 should be in pretty soon. Did we ever have the 206 go? No, we never did, huh?
Nope. I did not see the 206 go by.
So 206 Joshua Cobb did not go that we saw. So the 290 is going to be the next one.
That's what we're looking at here. Should be getting pretty close here to the finish of this qualifier.
And then the 240 Chris Miller withdrew out of the race also. So those are two to mark off on our starting list here. Now, because Josh Cobb did not qualify, doesn't mean that he can't start the race.
This would be a good one here. Let's see what Trey does here off his big old Sunday. Yeah, he seems
hard to see. We don't have a drone shot for it.
Hey.
It looked pretty fast from
We
there.
can imagine how big that was.
Yeah, you got to use your imagination.
We can
on
imagine that
one.
was huge. I just missed it. It's all right. He's got another one around this corner. We'll see how he navigates around this one.
Yeah, this is
Seems
exciting
to be on a
because
sick one.
check this out. We got Jason McNeil just did a 324.9.
Oh boy.
And we had Gibbs at a 324.2.
Now-
So we got two of our fastest qualifiers going the last two spots right here.
Yep.
There's going to be a shakeup at the top of the board here if these guys can keep these trucks together the second half.
Yeah, and judging by how tight and technical this one is, I think that, I don't know. It's hard to say. We'll see.
They don't have a wing though. How could they possibly beat the Gaunt entry with the big vertical wing?
I don't know. Sheer driving abilities, potentially.
Whoa, that's pretty sideways there though.
That's
That
gonna need
costs
some
a little
time
bit of
there.
time. Yeah.
We're going to
It
see. I'm
looks
excited.
cool,
Top of this hill, we'll have a time here.
but it's not as fast. That was McNeil right there.
Let's see, let's see. Yep,
I think
and we
that
got
was
a new
McNeil, right?
top qualifier. Holy smokes.
Whoa, a 6:17.
Whoa,
Wow,
impressive.
for Trey Gibbs, driver of record Chelsea Magnus. Trey Gibbs in the old Polvardi truck, you said, right?
Yeah.
That truck has qualified very well before. He's won races in that truck. That is a very fast, proven truck. So I'm not too surprised to see that, but he doesn't have a ton of desert experience, right? Not in Spec truck.
He's had that truck for a year now, I think, about almost a year. So yeah, I mean, he's figuring it out. But some of those dudes just got sheer talent. They just do well on anything they touch. But holy smokes,
That's a crazy time, actually.
That's 9 seconds.
Yeah.
9 whole seconds. We're not talking 0.9. We're talking 9 whole seconds.
Definitely a very fast time.
All right, well, let's see. We're all holding our breath here because
Jason McNeil, he was right on him at the halfway point.
He was.
So we'll see at the end here if he's going to be around a 6:17 or not as well.
Let's see if we can get this drone. I see the drone in this shot. Let's see if we can get. Oh, there we go.
Hey, this is going to be our last truck, right? We got everyone else in. What did the 290 do? Did I read their time off? 290 did a 7:40.
Yep. All right, let's see how Jason navigates here. Now, in the truck, you got no idea what you're doing. You're just trying to drive as fast as you can. This isn't NASCAR or anything like that where you're getting splits. I mean,
Well, you could be nowadays.
You could
because everyone's got internet,
potentially,
right?
yeah.
Starlink. They could be looking at the same split time that we're looking at here.
But I mean, you're not on a 5-mile run like that. You're not going to make any adjustments. You've made up your mind the second they say go. You know how fast you're driving around that qualifier. So I'm wondering if Jason does know where he's sitting, but I would assume he's just on a sick one. There's Tony. We saw him. All right, now we're waiting here. We got one more time to come back.
Yep, we're waiting for a final time. So final time, and then we're putting together a leaderboard for you guys. We will show you the leaderboard as soon as we have it together. So we're getting you guys a top 10 leaderboard, but we're just waiting right now for Jason McNeil to finish.
No,
And
we
he
got
did,
a time.
But where is he?
Second place.
6:22. All right, so Jason McNeil is in with the Elijah Kiger entry, the 238 driver of record. He's in with a 6:22. So
Impressive.
6:22.
Impressive.
.403.
The thing is, we just had our socks knocked off by a 6:17, but let's not underestimate how fast a 6:22 is.
That is
compared
fast.
Yeah, it's still, what, 4 seconds off of Maverick's time or Chasen's time there in the
and then 5 seconds the first spot from second.
Right.
That's a big gap, honestly.
It is, especially over 5 miles. Yeah, I think 5 seconds made up over 5 miles is darn impressive.
Definitely a long time. All right, so we are working on that, and then we're working on also getting what time our trophy trucks are going to go at. That actually went very fast, honestly. That was about 1 hour,
That was
literally an hour and 5 minutes or something.
That was a smooth run.
That was very smooth. That is the fastest we've ever had qualifying go here. Nobody did anything crazy. We didn't see any issues with everybody. Nobody rolled it over. Nobody got a flat. Nobody had any problems that we saw.
Just a bunch of guys on their best behavior driving as fast as they can.
Yeah. So originally the trophy trucks were going to start around 11, I believe, but we're going to work on verifying that for you guys. We're going to get a top 10 leaderboard up for you in a minute. We'll read that off, and then we are going to take a break for a little bit after that until the trophy trucks go. Obviously, the trophy trucks are going to go. We have the trophy truck legends are going to go. Just looking at my list here, we have 24 trophy trucks that are going to go, and then we have 7 legends. So what is that, 31 trucks that are going to go? They're all going to get to go out on a pre-run lap. And they're going to do the same thing, pre-run for 5 miles. That'll take at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half or so. So then we're probably looking right about 11 o'clock again, but once we get official confirmation of that, we will let you guys know.
I'm very curious as to where these top 3 spec truck drivers will stack in the overall times for trophy trucks.
That'll be interesting
to see.
Usually
these guys are pretty close stacked, you know, all within a second or two. And we're like, oh, okay, yeah, you know, you'll drop in like maybe they were the 5th fastest in the unlimited or 6th or something like that. But with this 6:17 and 6:22 and 6:26, those are some really fast times. You got to think the course can only hold so much speed, and these corners you can only hit them so darn fast. Like there is a terminal velocity of a turn realistically. Oh, yeah. Like especially with the tire grip, we're all on the same tires, same tire size. Braking somewhat similar. So I'm very curious as to how much faster the all-wheel drive trophy trucks really are than maybe Trey Gibbs's time or Jason McNeil's time. It's going to be very interesting to see. We will find out shortly. And while we're working on the top 10 leaderboard, we're going to go to a quick commercial, and we will come back with the final results of Trophy Truck Spec, and we will update you guys on the start time for the trophy trucks. So stay with us. We'll be right back just in a couple minutes.
The ultimate adventure tool, with all the storage to hold even more adventure tools. The all-new, adventure-ready Bronco Sport.
We've been doing a lot of driving off-road. It's a bit of an adrenaline rush, but in such a slow-paced environment, it's effectively really safe and a lot of fun. It's really important that everyone that comes out here has the respect to have a lot of fun, but not do damage. We always try and leave it cleaner than we found it.
The best way to leave your mark on the world is to hardly leave one at all. BF Goodrich, what are you building for?
I got that right turn. We're good.
Let's meet up at the compound group up.
At 10-4. Yeah, for sure, dog. Good, little driver. Straight on through.
Years of off-road racing dominance. Proprietary patented race technology. Proudly made in the USA. Unparalleled customer service and support. The choice of champions. KingOffRoadShocks, the leader in off-road shock technology.
Okay, we'll talk top 10.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are here once again with the 2024 qualifying of the Baja 400. This is the Method Race Wheels live stream presented by VP Racing Fuels. Here's a look at our top 10 official finishers. And why don't you go ahead and start us off, Nick? Who got the top spot?
Well, the Chelsea Magnus entry, the 232, driven by Trey Gibbs with a 6 minute 17.246 blistering time. Honestly, kind of mind blown at how fast that was. Very impressive. Huge congratulations to that. That's just astonishing.
That is a heater. That is a heater, definitely. I mean, when you have the number 2 spot, Elijah Kiger entry, but driven by Jason McNeil, and he is 5 seconds slower than you.
Mind-blowing.
That is just crazy. So Jason McNeil there in the 2nd spot in the 2:38 entry.
Yeah.
Followed by
followed by the number 3 Maverick Gaunt entry, the 2:58, driven by Chasen Gaunt, correct?
Correct.
Yep, with a 6-minute, 26-second time, which is very respectful, very fast, about on par with what we thought this course was going to yield for a time.
Definitely. And then Stephen Beal entry in the 4th spot, once again driven by somebody else, driven by Sean Geiser, we were told. So with a 6:28, one of our early guys to go.
Yep, and the first truck off the line was the Thor Herbst entry, the 219 with a 6:29, which we kind of thought was going to stick. We figured that was going to be kind of the par for this course. It was going to be the sub 30 second after 6-minute run, but obviously that kind of changed as the day progressed.
Yeah, and then just behind him, literally 0.3 of a second, is Justin Davis in the number 285. So a good run for Justin Davis once again.
And that's followed by the number 7 spot, George Sampietro, in the 297 with a 6-minute, 30-second run.
Then we have Brent Fox, who races every single race there is known to mankind. Back out there once again in the 282. He came in the 8th position with a 6:33.4.
And our second truck off the line was EJ Herbst in the 9th spot in the 263 truck with a 6-minute, 34-second run. Very respectful.
And then in the 10th spot, Jordan Brenthal, driven by Abdali Lopez. I thought he was going to be at the top today. I'm telling you, something was off with him. Look at that time. Something was not quite correct today with that entry. But top 10, nonetheless. If you can take a top 10 when you're kind of off, that's pretty freaking good, right?
That's true.
I'll take that. So Abdali Lopez there with a 6:35 in the 10th spot. And we are being told that since everything went so well right now, we are going to be starting about 11 o'clock for our trophy trucks. So come back at about 11 o'clock and we will be live for trophy trucks. What we're going to do right now is we're going to let the trophy trucks go out. They're going to do a sight lap in just a little bit. The trophy truck legends are going to go out as well. They're going to get to do their sight lap. Then they're going to re-rack everybody, and we will be back and we will be live around 11 o'clock. But so far, a lot of action, pretty smooth sailing so far.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, for us, in a great way, somewhat of a boring qualifier. Just a bunch of fast trucks driving around a fast track. Nothing crazy to talk about. No major upsets. Just the Trey Gibbs run and the Jason McNeil run, which, unsurprising, like those guys are fast dudes. We know they're going to run fast, but that fast was very, very impressive. So,
definitely.
But, you know, I'm very excited to see where these guys are going to stack up in the unlimited field. You know, like when you have times like that, like a 6:17, 6:22, it's like I'm very curious as to where they would have landed in the overall qualifying time, which we'll find out later on today around 11 o'clock.
I think those are going to be pretty high, honestly. Those times are going to be pretty good. But we'll see. I mean, you know, they might go out there and be 30 seconds faster than them. We'll see. They got 2 extra wheels driving on a lot of these cars coming up.
That's it. And like 200 million more horsepower.
Yeah, right, exactly. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for now. Come back at 11 o'clock, and we will be back live with the trophy truck and the trophy truck specs then. You'll see at 11 o'clock once we have everybody lined back up.
Don't we have a special guest at 11 potentially?
Oh, we do. We do. Potentially we have one of the trophy truck drivers coming in. Dan McMillan, I think, is coming in.
Dan McWho?
We'll see if he shows up. Yeah.
All right. We'll see if we can get him off the golf course and up here on the TV screen doing some talking.
Early. Yeah, exactly. All right, well, that'll do it for us. Now, guys, come back at 11 o'clock, and we will be back with more of the Method Race Wheels Score Baja 400 5th Annual Qualifying presented by VP Racing. See you guys at 11.
the ultimate adventure tool with all the storage to hold even more adventure tools. The all-new, adventure-ready Bronco Sport.
We've been doing a lot of driving off-road. It's a bit of an adrenaline rush, but in such a slow-paced environment, it's effectively really safe and a lot of fun. It's really important that everyone that comes out here has the respect to have a lot of fun, but not do damage. We always try and leave it cleaner than we found it.
The best way to leave your mark on the world is to hardly leave one at all. BF Goodrich, what are you building for?
Of off-road racing dominance. Proprietary patented race technology. Proudly made in the USA. Unparalleled customer service and support. The choice of champions. KingShocks, the leader in off-road shock technology.
The finishing touches of any off-road vehicle are the things you add to make it your own. That's why we've developed a full collection of over 70 Polaris-engineered accessories specifically designed for Pro R. Polaris. Think outside.
I got that right turn. We're good.
Let's meet up at the compound, group up.
That's 10-4. Yeah, for sure, dog. Good, little driver. Straight on through.
Welcome to Baja, California. Our unique blend of cultures, cuisines, and historical influences create surprising combinations and unexpected delights around every corner. We welcome you with the most revolutionary cuisine in Mexico, complete with a sky full of magical sunsets. Welcome to the million-star hotels. If you're looking for something astonishing, we hold the most important wine regions in all of Mexico, next to the best tacos in the world. Welcome to our own revolutionary and delicious version of Chinese food. Here, the sublimely unexpected is our norm. It's our pleasure to welcome you to our beautiful state, Baja California, where everyone is always welcome.